Welcome dear students. In this lecture, we are going to discuss ethnic conflicts in South Asia. Some of the important objectives of the lecture are a brief introduction about South Asia, to define ethnicity and ethnic conflict, to give a comprehensive account of ethnic conflicts in South Asia, and finally, to understand the consequence of ethnic conflicts on the political landscape in South Asia. First, let's start with the introduction. South Asia is home to over 1/5 of the world's population and is comprised of 8 countries: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, with Afghanistan added in 2007. This region is a unique melting pot of cultures, religions, races, and has been home to some of the oldest civilizations in the world. Before 1947, the area was commonly referred to as Britain's Indian Empire Raj. Geographers such as Sir Dudley Stamp have referred to it as the Indian subcontinent due to its separation from the rest of Asia by a continuous barrier of mountains in the north. Robert D. Kaplan has noted that the British Raj created a massive rail grid that connected the Afghan border in the northwest to the Palk Strait near the Sri Lanka in the deep south, and from Karachi in Pakistan to Chittagong in Bangladesh, thus unifying the subcontinent. Prior to this, the Mughals and the Delhi Sultanate had also unified many of these areas, albeit through a loose system of control. The term South Asia as a separate region got an official stamp by establishing the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation in 1985. SAARC was the first formal regional building initiative in South Asia in which the term South Asia became officially and arguably emerged as dominant term to define the region. Several common factors override the great diversity between the countries of the contemporary South Asia so that it can be marked off as a separate region. The most important factor other than the geographical which has contributed to its regionalization is the common influence of 200 years of British colonialism. While the Indian subcontinent, Burma and Sri Lanka experienced direct British rule, Nepal, Sikkim and Bhutan had to surrender many of their powers to British government in India. Consequently, we find common political, legal and administrative institutions in India, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. However, the British were also responsible for creating several problems in the area. Thus, some of the political differences between India and Pakistan, such as Kashmir and the Indus water disputes, Sri Lanka's differences with India regarding the nationality of the Tamil plantation workers, and India's frictions with Myanmar and the Himalayan states are legacies of the British period. South Asia region has multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious societies, and this multiplicity has given rise to a variety of clashes. Consequently, the region for a long time has been an epicenter of conflicts, including ethnic, political, religious and social ones. Ethnic conflicts include the Chakma problem in Bangladesh, the Hindu, Muslim and Sikh problems in India, the Hindu and Muhajir problems in Pakistan, the Tamil problem in Sri Lanka, and the conflict over Kashmir between India and Pakistan, the 2 nuclear states. Conflicts between states, particularly between India and Pakistan, have made the subcontinent a volatile region and added complexity to region's already volatile mixture of sectarian violence and international disputes. Moreover, these inter and intrastate conflicts have, through their geographic expressions, result in ethnic fragmentation zones marked by contentious relations among ethnic groups and between ethnic groups and state, often resulting in massive violence. In this backdrop, the current lecture examines some of the major ethnic conflicts in South Asia. However, before I do that, let me explain some of the important terms and concepts used in this lecture. And I begin by defining ethnicity. Indeed, ethnicity is a complex category which has always been in a state of flux. It is strongly associated with the caste, class, politics, and religion of majority-minority equations. Ethnicity has been best defined within cultural anthropology, but it has been debated topic, and there is no single definition or theory of how ethnic groups are formed. According to John Hutchinson and Anthony Smith, the term ethnicity is relatively new, first appearing in the Oxford English Dictionary in 1953, but its English origin are connected to the term ethnic, which has been in use since the Middle Ages. The true origins of ethnic have been traced back to Greece and the term ethnos, which was used in reference to a band, tribe, race, people or swam. Prominent elite theorist Vilfredo Pareto, in his book The Mind and Society, a treatise on general sociology, pointed out that the term ethnicity was one of the vaguest terms known to sociology. According to Ted Gurr, ethnicity denotes a feeling of affiliation among a group of people on racial, linguistic, cultural, regional or religious grounds. Hutchinson and Smith's definition of an ethnic group consists of 6 main features that include a common proper name to identify and express the essence of the community, a myth of common ancestry that includes the idea of common origin in time and place, and that gives an ethnic sense of fictive kinship, shared historical memories or shared memories of a common past or pasts, including heroes, events and their commemoration, one or more elements of common culture which need not be specified but normally include religion, customs and language, a link with homeland, not necessarily its physical occupation by ethnicity, only its symbolic attachment to the ancestral land as with diaspora people, and a sense of solidarity on the part of at least some sections of the ethnic population. In the current lecture, ethnicity is defined as a culturally distinctive collectivity larger than a kingship unit whose members claim a common origin or descent. Dear students, now let us discuss the ethnic conflicts in South Asia. Ethnicity and ethnic identity play a major role in shaping the conflict spectrum in South Asia. As it is a multi-ethnic, multilingual and multi-religious region, it is difficult to avoid ethnicity-based conflicts. It is generally argued that almost every conflict in South Asia is driven by ethnic identity. The post-colonial states, particularly Bangladesh, India, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, bear testimony that all the major conflicts in the region have emerged on the basis of ethnicity. South Asian societies suffer from ethnicity as a most pervasive of political fault lines. In the case of India, the ethnic problem, particularly between Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs, has deep historical roots. The Punjab and Kashmir problems are of more recent origin. The Tamil problem in Sri Lanka too exploded with no less violence. The Chakma problem in Bangladesh and the Pathan Mohajir riots in Karachi, Balochistan problem in Pakistan have been going on for some time now. It's a region that has witnessed 5 full-scale interstate conflicts where adversaries are nuclear armed and Asia's major powers. Some of its states have earned the distinction of becoming a part of hub of global terrorism and where no country has been free from insurgencies and separatist movements. Now let's talk about the ethnic conflicts. South Asia has a history of 15 ethnic conflicts in a span of 5 decades. India has witnessed 8, followed by 3 in Pakistan and 1 each in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Bhutan. Most ethnic conflicts in South Asia have been driven by a desire for greater autonomy, which itself is an outcome of fear of assimilation and marginalization and a sense of relative deprivation and powerlessness. At least 3 secessionist movements, East Pakistan, Khalistan and Tamil Eelam, originated over the issue of greater autonomy, which ultimately led to an escalation of conflict. While, on the other hand, a number of conflicts over ethnicity originated and reached to the level of internal wars. Most of them have lingered on for a long and led to large-scale human and material losses. The East Pakistan War is certainly the most disastrous civil war in the region, with the death toll crossing 3 million. The death toll resulting from Tamil Eelam was close to 60,000. The post-Cold War period has witnessed an upsurge and intensity in the ethno-political strife. A particular feature in this period is an increase in internal conflicts in 3 important South Asian countries: India, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. This led to a concern within and outside the region that a major threat to international security and stability emanates from ethnic turmoil within nation states than from other types of conflicts. The concern was also in the context of the international wars between Pakistan and India. The fact remains that every internal ethnic conflict has an external dimension because most ethnic groups in South Asia transcend international borders. Political history of South Asian states is marked by efforts at state building within the context of ideological debates and ethno-national challenges. Scholars and regional experts would describe it as a multinational states, nation states, or nations in the making, thus emphasizing the state as a creator of the nation. The state, in its quest to create a nation, wanted to produce a pulverized and uniform sense of national identity at any cost. This could only be achieved by assimilating minority ethnic identities into majority identities. This particular attempt in the pluralistic societies of South Asia generated an ethnic backlash, resulting in legitimate security risks for the state. This, in turn, resulted in greater centralization of state power. All along, an effort has been made to camouflage these dissimilarities and not give them due recognition and empowerment. 2 important functioning democracies in the region, India and Sri Lanka, where an element of understanding exists about the pluralistic aspect of their respective societies, have not been possible to translate this understanding on the ground. As such, both India and Sri Lanka experienced ethnic conflicts over the last few decades. Indian ethnic communities live on a scale of graded linguistic and cultural differences. Linguistic scholars have suggested that there are 325 distinctive languages in India and thousands of dialects. To this linguistic diversity, we have to add several separate religions as well as divisions of caste and locality. Each criterion divides Indian society differently. Together, all form the complex and layered identity of modern India. The idea of ethnic identity then amalgamates linguistic, religious and cultural attributes. Some ethnic groups see themselves as targets of discrimination, while others ask for autonomous status. In the 1980s, tension and conflict arose over the issue of language. The government selected Hindi as the national language to create a national community by joining all members of the different ethnic communities. This attempt at unity in diversity had an adverse effect on the Indian population. There is empirical evidence of violence in the south like Tamil Nadu, where severe riots took place over the Hindi issue. According to the non-Hindi speakers, the language policy of the government meant an advantage for the Hindi speakers, who are perceived to dominate the economic institutions and have political authority. The partisan violence exhibited by the Sri Lankan armed forces has convinced the Tamil people that their physical security is not provided by the Sri Lankan government. These two taken together led the people to lose all faith in Sri Lankan state and its institutions and demand their own state. Following a fierce year-long military offensive, the Sri Lankan government claimed in 2009 that it had defeated liberation tigers of Tamil Eelam and killed its leader Velupillai Prabhakaran. The conflict between Sri Lankan government and the LTTE has lasted nearly 3 decades and is one of the longest running civil wars in Asia. The civil war has killed nearly 70,000 and watchdog groups have accused both the LTT and the Sri Lankan military of human rights violations, including abduction, extortion and the use of child soldiers. Moreover, thousands disappeared and were maimed. Both the LTT and the government forces were accused of placing civilians at risk. Today, little of this has changed. Although the LTT has been defeated, the Tamil people still have no faith in the Sinhalese rulers of Sri Lanka and do not trust the military to protect them. The ethnically centralized system always existed in Pakistan in the form of Punjabi dominance, executed in the shape of institutional dominance with a predominantly Punjabi military and federal bureaucracy. Even after the loss of East Pakistan in 1971, Punjabi dominance continues to be resented by the Sindhis, Pashtos, Baloch and Urdu-speaking populace. This is because the very dynamics of Pakistani regime have been such as leaving little leeway for protest and dissent. Consequently, as in the past, the process of nation and state building has hamstringed power dispersal and thereby an emphasis on the responsiveness of the multi-ethnic collectivities. As a result, the structure of ethnic conflict management in Pakistan seems to have been increasingly weakened through the virtual negation of the federal structure, provincial autonomy, electoral process, as well as the dynamics of party politics. Bangladesh itself, the product of a civil war with Pakistan, has only recently signed a peace treaty with the tribes of Chittagong Hill Tracts, which has provided an uneasy peace in the country that has endured a low-intensity civil conflict ever since its independence from the West Pakistan in 1971. Now let me discuss some of the consequences of ethnic conflicts within South Asia. Broadly speaking, the ethnic conflicts have severely impacted the regional economy and democratic progress and hitched regional cooperation and posed a security threat to the entire region. These conflicts have led to the deepening of sectarian and communal fault lines and polarized communities, resulting in political instability and social disorder. The impact of ethnicity-based conflicts on the economic growth and the development of South Asia has been a matter of debate among academicians, policy makers and scholars. Ethnic conflicts, particularly in countries like Pakistan, India and Sri Lanka, have had adverse effects on their growth and progress. On several occasions, leaders of India and Pakistan have admitted that ethnicity-based conflicts in their respective countries continue to impede development. Conflicts in South Asia have also negatively affected the autonomy and sovereignty of the countries. They have exposed them to the internal fault lines and external interventions. Ethnic polarization and antagonism in South Asia have weakened the collective capacity of states to work towards peaceful progress and development. Provoking inter-group antagonism undermines the conflict management system of states, eventually contributing to insecurity and instability at the societal level. This in turn affects the socio-economic and political system of countries. The prejudicial attitude of ruling parties towards minorities in South Asian countries has alienated them from the mainstream, and they have lost trust in the government as redresser of their grievances. To conclude, it was comprehended that the most ethnic conflicts in South Asia have been caused by the exploitation, isolation, marginalization, and underrepresentation of minorities. If these minorities were given a more equitable place in the administration, it could help to win their trust and reduce the likelihood of conflict. The root cause of these conflicts is often the state's refusal to share power with the discontented groups, leading to the negative politicization of minority ethnic groups. This, combined with the majority's hatred of minority groups, makes them even more vulnerable. Moreover, inter and intrastate conflicts have, through their geographic expressions, result in ethnic fragmentation zones marked by contentious relations among ethnic groups and between ethnic groups and state, often resulting in massive violence. The fear of further exploitation and deprivation is perpetuated by their experience of past mistreatment as well as worries about the future. Elitism has also been a major factor in the rise of ethnic conflicts in South Asia, with privileged classes in the countries such as India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka controlling the economic, political system at the expense of the poor and marginalized. These classes maintain their status by dividing the masses along cultural and ethnic lines. Ultimately, it is not ethnicity itself that is responsible for the emergence of conflict, but rather the politicization of ethnicity, which has had a detrimental effect on regional cooperation and held the region back economically and socially. Therefore, the state needs to take action to mitigate ethnic conflict and ensure the overall progress and security of the region. Dear students, it was all about today's lecture. Hope you have understood it. See you next time with a new topic. Till then, take care. May God bless you.